Imagine this. A satellite is orbiting Earth at 7.5 kilometers per second. It opens a hatch and drops a 6-meter tungsten rod. No explosives, no warhead, just gravity and speed. It hits the Earth that's faster than a bullet, faster than a missile, with the force of a small tactical bomb. And that's just one idea. Now imagine a satellite that waits silently for years, doing nothing, until one command is sent. It releases a capsule. Inside, hundreds of drones, deployable anywhere on Earth, in minutes. And then there are satellites carrying missiles, waiting to disable an enemy's communications and navigation systems with a single command. This is not science fiction. This is the new battlefield, and it's already forming above our heads. We are entering a new era. Space is no longer just for astronauts and scientists. It is becoming a war-fighting domain. The new space race isn't about planting flags. It's about control. And the competition is primarily between the United States, China, Russia. But increasingly, this is a US-China rivalry. Both countries now have military branches dedicated specifically to space. And they're preparing not just to operate in space, but to fight there. Right now, there are more than 12,000 satellites orbiting Earth. And no, they're not crammed together like the graphics you see online. But there is a massive amount of high-tech hardware floating above us. And much of it is military. Satellites today are the nervous system of modern warfare. They allow troops to navigate, missiles to hit targets, armies to communicate, governments to spy. Early warning systems to detect nuclear launches. If you disable a country's satellites, you blind them, you deafen them, you disconnect them. Modern militaries would struggle to function without space. That's why space has become so critical. Let's slow down for a second. What is a satellite? It's basically a small computer mounted on a metal frame, powered by solar panels, orbiting Earth. Some are tiny, CubeSats, small enough to hold in your hand. Others are the size of a bus. They orbit in different zones. Low Earth orbit, 400 to 800 kilometers above us. Geostationary orbit, so far out they appear frozen in the sky. And here's something wild. Satellites aren't flying. They are constantly falling. When they move sideways so fast, about 30,000 kilometers per hour, that gravity keeps pulling them down. But they keep missing the Earth. That balance creates orbit. It's controlled falling. That's why astronauts float. They aren't escaping gravity. They're falling perfectly. Now let's talk about how militaries use them. 1. Intelligence and surveillance satellites can see troop movements, missile launches, military bases. Before Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, satellites saw the troop buildup. Nothing is truly hidden anymore. Soon, swarms of satellites may provide near real-time surveillance of the entire planet, analyzed by AI. 2. Early warning systems. Satellites detect heat signatures from missile launches. They are the first line of defense in nuclear deterrence. But hypersonic missiles are changing that, and new constellations are being built to track them. 3. GPS. Around 30 satellites orbit 20,000 kilometers above us. At any time, at least 3 can see you. That's how your phone knows exactly where you are. Without GPS, modern militaries would struggle to navigate or coordinate operations. 4. Communications satellites allow troops, ships, and aircraft to talk across continents. In war, communication is survival. Disable that? Chaos. But here's the part most people don't realize. Space warfare is already happening, not with explosions, but with interference. Jamming overpowering signals so they can't be received. Spoofing, sending fake signals to mislead systems. Cyberattacks, hacking satellites remotely. In 2022, just before the invasion of Ukraine, our satellite communications were targeted in a cyber attack. Modern war begins in orbit, and these attacks are often deniable. No explosions, no debris, just silence. Now we get to the part everyone imagines, blowing satellites up. Several nations have tested anti-satellite missiles. The problem? Debris. When Russia tested one in 2021, it created over 1,500 pieces of trackable debris, each one traveling faster than a bullet. One collision could trigger a chain reaction, the Kessler syndrome, where debris destroys more satellites, creating even more debris. You could make orbit unusable for everyone. But here's what's more concerning: satellites that can move. China's SJ-21 satellite demonstrated it could dock with another satellite and push it into a graveyard orbit. That sounds peaceful, but the same capability could be used to disable an enemy satellite. Russia has maneuvered satellites suspiciously close to U.S. ASATs. Objects have been released in orbit. No one fully knows why, and the U.S. likely has capabilities it hasn't disclosed. This is orbital chess. Now imagine this escalates. During the Cold War, both the US and Soviet Union detonated nuclear devices at high altitudes. The electromagnetic pulse damaged satellites. That led to the Outer Space Treaty, banning nuclear weapons in orbit. But recently, concerns resurfaced about possible anti-satellite nuclear concepts. No nuclear weapons are currently stationed in orbit. But even one detonation in space today could cripple global satellite infrastructure. Military, civilian, commercial. It wouldn't just affect one country, it would affect everyone. Space is getting more crowded, more competitive, more militarized. Access is cheaper. Private companies launch thousands of satellites. Governments depend on them, and rivals don't trust each other. Until stronger agreements are made, the arms race continues. China expands. The US advances classified systems. Russia tries to maintain leverage. And private space companies profit along the way. Space doesn't belong to one nation. There are no borders up there. No flags waving in the vacuum. But what happens in orbit will shape every conflict on Earth. The next war might not begin with troops crossing a border. It might begin with a signal going dark, a satellite drifting off course, a communication network failing. The battlefield above us is real, and it's already active. Space is the final frontier. But it may also become the most important one. If you found this valuable, subscribe, because the world above us is changing fast, and we're just getting started.